Stephan Hawkes here with Guitar Tabs Daily. I'm at my very own Hawkes studio today. Going to be doing a review of the Blackstar HT-20 Mark III. It's a cool 2-channel amp that's got a lot of versatility and options, so I'm excited to dig into that. I'm going to be playing today out of my 2004 V-neck American Deluxe Strat. Got this brownie regulating the voltage, and I'm using this cool positive grid Spark Link wireless deal, which I don't know, was super easy. Didn't require a receiver, and I don't know, I'm liking just being free and loose. So can also be playing through that today. So yeah, so the Blackstar HT-20 Mark III. It's it's got 2 channels with different voicing options per channel, and then you've got kind of a universal global control of the type of amp you got. It also has reverb and a 2-watt from 20 watt to 2 watts switch. So basically, a lot of options to dig into here. And the big thing that's important is, how does it sound and what kind of sounds can it cover? So just starting with the clean, I've got it dialed in around just a single coil bridge pickup clean. So obviously super glassy, super clear. You could do all sorts of things with it, but the tone knob definitely works across the board to just kind of shape the sound. And you don't really need any EQ beyond that for what it seems like. If I were to just muffle out my pickups, I could just get right back to normal. So, I mean, if you had a significantly darker guitar, that's not going to work with this guitar, but you'd be able to normalize that any kind of humbucker or anything that's less clear and less bright than a Strat. So it's a very useful tone control. And then in addition to that, it has this voice switch, which is available on the foot switch or via toggle on the front. So that's the normal setting. Here you've got the voice switch. So you can hear it gives it kind of more of a mid-range immediacy, and it kind of focuses the guitar. So if you're just setting up the amp and you find that is generally works better for the tonality of your guitar, that can be the default. However, one thing that I found that was kind of cool, that I think is kind of useful in a live scenario, is I felt like it almost evened out the difference of going from a neck pickup or a bridge pickup to a neck pickup. So here's me on the bridge pickup playing with the regular setting. Then here's me switching to this and hitting the voice. So it makes those two things kind of work. And you could, so if you were playing live and you wanted to switch clean tones, it kind of makes it so that your neck pickup can actually do, more lead sounding things. So it's kind of just a nice little thing to be able to do if you've got a guitar you want a pickup switch within a song and a show. You can just do that on a switch. Whereas if I were to do that without adjusting the voice switch, I mean, it works obviously, and you're going for a bassier sound, but I just thought that was kind of a cool little thing. I'm sure, they had that in mind, but ultimately, even if you're not using it to do kind of live on the fly switching tricks, or you could have 2 guitars. Let's say you do a single coil guitar and a humbucker guitar. Well, maybe the humbucker guitar sounds better with the voice switch selected and otherwise, so you don't have to sit there fiddling with the amp at a show. I always like practical stuff like that, stuff that you can actually use that isn't part of the classic, amps that have been made 100 times over that I own a bunch of. It's like they weren't concerned with all that stuff. They weren't thinking about those little tricks and foot switches and stuff. These amps didn't even have foot switches. They were all just like 1-channel amps. So if you're going to make a modern amp, you should have modern kind of solutions and options in there. Which I think is great. So yeah, the clean, just super versatile voice switch. So it's like getting 2 channels. So it's almost more of a 4-channel amp. I mean, obviously you don't have control over all 4 channels, but the way that it works is really integrated and it works great. Moving on. Oh, actually, let me put a little reverb on here. I've had a little reverb on. There you can really hear it. I had it kind of low, so you can barely tell, but all the way up. I like that. It's got just kind of a cool 3D. It's short. It's not nothing crazy. Like if you want to be a reverb crazy guy, then you have to get some kind of crazy long reverb pedal. But this is just a nice, and that's obviously extreme. So I think for a lot of guys who want reverb but don't want to bring a reverb pedal because they're not doing anything outside of general, just having a nice little bit of reverb on the clean, you know. Just adds a nice little thing. Works really well. Plenty of usability on the knob. Sounds really good. Going to the overdrive section, there's a little more to work with here. It's very interesting, but it also has a voice switch, which also comes in handy a lot. So here's the overdrive channel the way I have it dialed in. You'll notice right away, it's easy to balance the overdrive and the clean. Even though they have separate controls, it's easy to balance those things. So that's great. You got kind of a cohesive amp. And what's cool about the overdrive on it is that, you know, it doesn't lose the Stratty sound. So it doesn't lose whatever's cool about the guitar and just kind of flatten it and turn it into like a boring overdrive. I mean, you could if you adjusted the controls badly, but I found it very easy to just take the spirit of the clean and the guitar as it is and then just turn it into an overdrive that's true to the clean circuit and also true to the guitar. So that's cool. The voice switch definitely does a big thing on this. And again, for if you were going to use it as your standard setting, you'd have to adjust some EQs and do some things. And if that was just going to be your guitar sound, you're a voice switch on guy, that's great. It does work for switching too. So I can do kind of a similar thing where I'll go between the pickups and the voice switch on the distorted mode. So that's sweet. It's integrated really well. Like you should be able to dial in a tone where that voice switch is an option at very least. You could go the other way and dial in your tone around the voice switch and then turn it off in times as opposed to having it, you know, doing the way I was doing, considering the main channel. They both sound great. Just depends on how you EQ them. So if I start with the voice switch on, I might adjust the EQ differently. And the voice switch is to make things more modern and kind of more scooped and more powerful. And that's kind of the point of it, you know, in the circuit, is to make it more modern and have more edge, which it definitely does. Now if I turn it off, so it's a very useful tone control. It sounds really good. The other big selling point on these amps, which I find to be very cool, is this ISF knob. This basically will determine the character between like an American and a British sound. And it works on a spectrum. I found there to be a bunch of different sweet spots. Sometimes with these switches, I'm like, it's either all the way down or all the way up. You know, like, I don't know what I'm going to do with all these in-between spots. Like, it's nice they gave them to me, but you could have just put it on a switch. With this one, I actually found there were like a lot of pockets of sound. So I'm going to start all the way to the left, and you'll hear immediately how much the tone has changed. I'm going to reset this up for the non-voice. So that's a very different sound than all the way to the right. Just a totally different characteristic. Now here's what's cool. Obviously I only got one hand to play, but you can hear the sweep as I play along. So So for me, I hear something happen really cool. Obviously either way, full out is cool either, but I hear something happen to the tone and the shape of the sound right here at about 11 o'clock. And then I hear something again right around 1 or 2 o'clock. That's kind of more the medium version of the far right setting. So yeah, you got this, and then so yeah, it's like depending on what guitar, depending on what guitar you have, the sounds you're looking to do, this kind of stuff is super important. And it may be a thing where, let's say you play shows, you play gigs with multiple guitars. Well, you just go, one of them likes that, one of them likes that. It's not a difficult adjustment. None of the sounds are bad. So it's not like something, there's been some of these kind of switches implemented on amps over the year where it's like, well, most of this I wouldn't ever want to use. There's really only this small window of usable sounds or just keeping it all the way up. So with this, there's not a bad sound in there. I did find there to be a couple sweet spots, but they're not that picky to where at a show you're going to have a hard time, finding something that works. And, as you get to play the amp and know the amp, you'll just learn, oh, my Les Paul likes this, my Strat likes that. It's a simple switch the guitar, do an adjustment, So it's got a real Swiss Army knife kind of approach to the sounds you can get. It's got plenty of gain. I mean, as you can see on the overdrive channel, I don't even have the gain all the way up. I mean, I'm not using the voice switch, which adds more gain and is more modern. And I don't even have the gain all the way up. So it's like, it already sounds great. This is single coils. I mean, they're not the lowest output single coils, but they aren't a humbucker. They're not a high output humbucker. So yeah, there's a lot of gain when you push this thing. And the voice switch, when you kind of crank it up that much, the voice switch just kind of gives you more. So it's just kind of interactive depending on what you're doing. But I mean, this is plenty of gain. The voice switch. It just seems to bring out the character of the guitar. Like it gets more stratty when it gets just more gnarly and stratty, and it pushes everything forward. So if you've got a Les Paul, but you want a more forward Les Paul, voice switch. You want to bring your Strat out and just do a gnarly ratty part like what I was just doing. That works really well. The other cool thing about this is that it's just got it on a 2-watt situation. So again, amps back in the day didn't have this kind of stuff. I find this to be extremely useful for you're playing at home and you just take this thing to gigs. Obviously it's compact and lightweight. Or you're just, you just want to turn down at band practice while the drummer and the bass player hashing out a part. You don't have to sit here and mess with your settings. You just turn on the 2-watt switch and then just don't bother anybody. So, it sounds great. Even if you go down to the clean, obviously at 20 watts, much louder, but at 2 watts, it's still really enjoyable to play. So it doesn't suck the life out of the amp or anything. And then again, it's just nice to have that option. Maybe you're just not looking to be loud and have the thing be super crazy for a second while you work out a part or you're doing something high that's a little like crazy sounding. You can just do that at a lower volume and then switch it up. So not a feature that amps used to come with, but I definitely see the value in it, especially with being able to play like in an apartment. You essentially have the same settings from band practice to home, and the only difference from band practice to home is the 20-watt versus the 2-watt switch. So yeah, I mean, I think this thing's great. I find the clean to be super, super versatile and really just carries the spirit of the guitar. So, this guitar sounds like it does through this clean. It's not, there's nothing about it that's, it sounds very much like, I don't know, when I turn the amp down and I just play the guitar acoustically, you turn the amp up and it just kind of sounds accurate to what it is. And with this tone knob and the voice switch, you'd be able to equalize and match any kind of guitar, to work with it. The overdrive channel is great. The voice switch is great. This really does change, the focus and the edge of the amp to allow, again, just more tonal control to let any kind of amp work. It's got IRs built in for home recording, USB recording, and I don't know. This thing's just super versatile. It's also loud. I mean, I don't have the master all the way. I have the master less than half all the way up, and it's loud. Like this is not a bedroom. This is not a bedroom amp. I mean, 20 watts obviously is decently loud, but if I were to turn this thing up and just turn the foot switch on, I mean, I'd be terrified of like, well, I have the gain all the way up and the thing all the way up. Like it would be loud. Like this would be a really loud amp. And I'm comfortable with it here. It's still loud. This is not some quiet, demo. Like stuff's pretty loud. So the fact that it sounds good, loud, and it's only 20 watts, is great. Super flexible. I think this thing sounds really, really good. I never played one of these before. The voice switch thing is not completely a new concept, but the fact that they put it on a foot switch and they balanced it in a way where you could use it in real time at a show, I think is kind of sets this thing apart from a lot of other amps. And the Blackstar HT-20 Mark III, I think they did a really nice job, and I've really enjoyed getting to know it.